hosts, the Bay-Area Brawler Skyler Greenberg and your Colonial champion Sean McCarty. Welcome to the Court Martial Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Court Martial Podcast, the podcast made by wrestling fans for wrestling fans, and we are here today to review Clash at the Castle in one of the places that is very special to my heart, Glasgow, Scotland. This is Clash at the Castle 2024, and we have got ourselves quite an interesting set of 5 matches to review, but I cannot do it alone, because with me, as always, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. He is the Bay Area Brawler himself, who is currently sour, but he's so sweet that it kind of just tastes, okay. And that's okay. You can just taste okay and still live a wonderful life. Just okay, Skyler Greenberg. How you doing, buddy?
I resent that statement. I feel I'm better than okay. I think I'm fantastic.
That's right. See, the sweetness has come into the world. And it didn't take much, ladies and gentlemen. We've got positive vibes all around us. And here to suck them out of the room like Chris Jericho sucks all of the other wrestlers' energy out of them. Because making fun of Chris Jericho is a thankless job. And it's tireless and it's exhausting. But, that's mostly just because he's so big that you got to get all the way around him to tell the jokes. This man is, in fact, the podcasting master of the idea of podcasting. The execution will be up to you. But because we're simulcast, I'm going to let him talk about it on his show, which just so happens to be right now.
I'm going to go ahead and give this show a 10 out of 10 just because they did what I wanted them to do and put Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles first. Just 10 out of 10 booking decision by Triple H. I love this show. My name is JoshAgeddon. Welcome to the Totally Awesome Podcast, the TAP, the worst podcast ever. So bad it might just make you tap out. And like Sean said, this is a simulcast. So you're listening to both TAP and CMP. Not enough P's.
No, there's plenty of P. There's plenty of P everywhere. But
don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Especially when Skyler's involved.
Yeah.
I made sure to go before we started this thing.
Now I'm disappointed.
Well, given the hit rate of time it takes to get through one of these podcasts, the night is young.
Yeah.
But we're here to review Clash at the Castle. We have got what I assume is going to be some across-the-pond communication issues, but we're going to let those develop as they go. But as far as what happens to go in Glasgow, what did you think of the show, Skyler?
Well, we're in Scotland for another of the international pay-per-views that WWE is doing, reminding the world that, yeah, they do in fact wrestle in other places besides the United States of America. I'm so glad that we're out of boring American crowds for pay-per-views. Because this would have sucked so bad if this was somewhere like Scranton, Pennsylvania, or I don't know, like Columbus, Ohio, or any of the other, like Toledo was pretty bad this past week, whatever.
Raw is apparently in Corpus Christi tonight, and I'm afraid.
Man, they've done as much as they could, or at least Vince did, to kill the American market. And it goes to show that they're like, yeah, we can't do pay-per-views there for like a hot minute. Because that crowd, they just don't care anymore. We're going to go where we're never, just so we'll get the reactions we're hoping for to just rehab the image a little bit. And to the credit of these foreign crowds, they all keep trying to one-up each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been quite nice. It's been, every one of these that we've done, I've just been pleasantly surprised at how active the crowd is. Even though they have their annoying moments, I thought Glasgow was rather tame on this night.
They were more controlled than France.
Yeah. I think France got a little carried away with themselves. But you know what? When is the WWE doing a live, pay-per-view in France?
Yeah.
And maybe again next year, but again, that's the part of it, is that they were at Clash of the Castle Wales 2 years ago. They did the Insurrection pay-per-views and all the other UK stuff. So going to France was kind of big since they never go to that part of the world.
Yeah, it's going to be nice, honestly, just in the next couple of years, like the kind of places that get chosen to have wrestling shows just to keep the markets hot, which I think is a really sound strategy, especially as you're making the move to the Netflix era and you're going through this huge transition of situations and rehabbing the entire image and trying to restore some of the goodwill of the fans once just alienated by Vince's garbage. Although,
I mean, you can't tell me that the Germans are going to be so happy at Bash in Berlin in August.
Dude, I'm excited for that show.
dude, that show is going to be off the chain. Like, just for an example, Tampa Bay played a game in Germany. I think it was either last year or the year before, and that crowd went ballistic for those. I mean, it was a sight to see. Not even our American crowds were what Germany was. It was pretty impressive. That show is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that, but we've got the other side of the war in this situation, and we start with a war. It's AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed, even though...
Hold on. Sean!
Yes, sir.
You didn't ask me what I thought of the show. And you also did
Well,
not
you
say
had
what
the
you thought of
opportunity. I thought you just basically were in comment of the crowds, because Skyler just mentioned the crowds. I didn't get an answer from Skyler either.
Yes, so pump the brakes just a tad.
So, well, I'm just holding this dog's head as you all are doing whatever you're doing with it.
So,
Well, fine, Joshua. Why don't you talk about the show?
I liked the show. It was a good show. Honestly, we were just talking about Backlash. I thought Backlash was better, and I even thought King and Queen of the Ring was better. But this was still an enjoyable show. There was only really like two things that I did not like that kind of bogged it down for me. But it was another fun WWE show. Although there was one thing that was not their fault that really bothered me. It was the start time, which was 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I had work at 5. So I saw everything but the main event, and I had to go to work like as soon as the main event started.
Well, you
so
saw like half of the main event.
I saw like the first 5 minutes.
Oh, you poor East Coast standard U.S. wrestling fans. Ooh.
I know. Woe is me. Also, I was a little salty because I looked up what time the start time was. Whatever website I was looking at said 1:30, so I turned it on at 1:30, and they were just doing like a random Jey Uso promo, and I was like, where the fuck is the show?
Dude, there was a
Yeah,
lot
we're not
of
doing
filler.
pre-show.
I mean, I tuned in like maybe a third of the way into the show, but I wanted to catch up and see the open first before I like skipped ahead, and then whatever the middle matches were, I'd go back and watch, and that's how I ended up watching the show. But and when I was looking for where the match time started, it was like 2 hours into the video. I'm like, you gave us 2 hours of filler panel BS to get into this in video packages, and now that I am a Premium Plus subscriber member, I don't feel the need to actually go back and watch any of that because I'm going to get it on the actual show itself now, which was actually a refreshing change of pace, if I won't lie to you, because the commercials
So, Sean,
just don't
how does
hit
it
as well.
feel to actually have hype packages for videos again?
I
for
feel
matches
powerful.
Again?
I feel very powerful.
Yes, now that you've shelled out an extra couple dollars.
Yeah, literally $1. It was $1 more to get it. And I was like, okay, fine.
You want the
shall
high
give-
package? Fork over another $1, you bitch.
It's $1. I win. Yep, that's
I'm sure
literally.
that dollar went to Cody Rhodes Taylors.
Yes.
Well, okay, Skyler, your overall of the show.
Whatever. Can we just start on this match?
Oh, somebody went from sweet to sour.
Yeah.
Somebody went back to sour. Grab some gummy bears.
What is that snack where it's like sour, sweet, gone? What is that?
That's Sour
Like,
Patch
Sweet and Sour Patch Kids.
The sweet, yeah, that's
Well, we don't
basically
want
Skylar's
Skyler gone.
exclusive.
We don't want Skyler gone. We just want his review of the show.
I'm here to get my review and shit in, okay, man?
Okay, Brian Cage. All right. Well, we're gonna start with the opening matchup, and I will talk about this later. I'm gonna talk about this later when we get to the other half of it. But I'm going to talk
Not even
about...
joking. Me and Sean have been arguing about this since the show. Like
I haven't
2 days
been,
ago.
okay, to be fair, I have not been arguing. I've just been stating my position on it and going, this is my position on it, incessantly.
Yes, incessantly.
But I'm making a point. I'm being very loud about my opinion on it, but we're going to get to
Hey,
it later.
Sean, how's the weather over there in Connecticut? Oh, it's fine, but it would be better if Cody and AJ went forward.
Actually, it has been a fantastically beautiful day. It really has. It's been a bright and sunny.
You know why? Because Cody and AJ went first.
That's well. We'll
Okay, we're not going to solve this debate. Can we just get going?
God,
I will break this tie later.
Skyler. Man, you're like the grumpy grandpa in the corner. It's you're banging your
I have to
cane
listen
up
to you
against the
two argue
ceiling.
about this for 2 fucking days. I just want to get this over with so I don't have to listen to this ever again.
It's like, Mom, Dad, shut the fuck up. We get it.
Again, I'm not arguing about Cody or AJ Styles versus talent name, okay?
WWE.
The women's tag team champion.
Yes, the women's tag team champion talent name, also known as the WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes. It's
I think we have
Cody
a new
AJ.
contender for vacant.
Yes, in an I Quit match for the Undisputed, even though we have the World Heavyweight Championship on at the main event, Undisputed.
Don't question it. Don't question it.
WWE Championship, and I am gonna question it because it kind of is really the root cause of the issue I have. Because if you don't have both world titles on in one night, you don't have this problem. But in any case,
If you don't have a fucking brand split, you won't have this problem.
well,
But
yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
If you had one world title, you wouldn't have this problem.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, we'll take what we can get. But in any case, this match was great. I really enjoyed this pretty much from start to finish, except the very end of it.
I'm just randomly.
Just the very end of it was my major issue with this, but I really had very little problems with this. What do you think, Sky?
I'm glad this. It went a little bit into the formulaic I quit. Ask him. No.
Yeah.
Ask him. No. Ask him again. No.
True.
At least they varied up their responses.
There
Well, they varied.
was
the
a lot of Cody
responses.
saying no.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was just a lot of Cody just saying no and other stuff. I mean, there's no way to make an I Quit match not formulaic of the whole thing just because of how it is. But these are two professionals who performed the match well and made me believe that they hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was what was really impressive to me was that this was incredibly believable, and God, this whole match, I'm just looking at Cody going, man, he really is Dusty's kid. Because this is like Dusty Rhodes doing Hogan shtick, almost. Like, because he hulks up, and the people eat it up.
Yes, they did.
I know I'm skipping way ahead, but this is something
when
Cody
he started
does do.
hulking up, dude, the crowd went insane.
They went ballistic, and it makes me laugh. I did like the as speaking of the crowd, I did like the AJ Styles Hallelujah chorus-esque chant that they did like once. And to the credit of Glasgow, they didn't go too hard in the paint with any chants, I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't do the backlash fans. Phenomenal,
Yeah.
da 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 da,
Yeah.
da 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 da.
Yeah.
That was getting annoying.
That got it actually inhibited the match. This I don't think had that problem. But there was a nice TA and Tully reference. Speaking of I Quit matches when they gave some history, and it's nice that we can actually hear a little bit about history now. You know, the
Well, we know that
commentary
Triple
all
H
night
is a
was
phoner for wrestling history.
a little bit, and you know what? I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. And
Because I have no idea that Corey Graves watched that match 40 years ago.
well, maybe he did. You know, it's if I never saw that match. It'd be nice to actually take a peek at that one, but I In any case, that makes us kind of allows us to want to do our homework, unlike Dave, who tells us to do our homework.
And then gives us the wrong answers to the wrong homework.
Yeah, and then hands out the wrong ditto. And
and then grades the wrong test. And we're like, Dave, we're not learning anything. What the fuck is happening? He's like, New Japan. What?
I don't know what you're saying. But one thing I will give AJ and Cody credit.
He's the glitch bot, not Justin Roberts.
Is Justin Roberts still doing voice announcing for that show? I'm so out of the AEW loop.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
The dapper yapper.
Yeah, bet. And I will have to say, I give credit to Cody and AJ for pulling out tables before the We Want Tables chant started. Being like, don't worry, we're going to get to them. Just shut your yaps. We're going to get to the tables, okay? We're going to just set it over here and just let us do our thing.
But Cody pulled out 2 tables and only ever used 1.
That's because the first table he pulled out, the leg broke, and they just left it to the side. And I was like, he did pull out 2 tables, and then there was like a lingering camera shot where the first table was just laying there with a broken leg, and I was like, oh they're not going to use that, are they? And it was just there. It's probably still there in the arena as we speak.
You know what's funny is it seems like there's an incident of a table prematurely breaking in like the past 3 or 4 pay-per-views they've had.
Yeah.
Literally, nobody likes premature table ejaculation. And
1 out of every 5 tables struggles with this common issue.
That's right. Unfortunately, we've done Gallup polls about this. Don't worry. And in any case, so they spill out to the back. And everyone just is like, yeah, you know, this happens.
I pointed this out to you guys, like, Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles start fighting to the back area, and they go to the gorilla position, and you see, like, there's William Regal, and there's Bobby Roode, and there's Triple H, and they're just watching the monitors while fights happening next to them.
Well, they're all wrestlers. They know what's up. I mean, this is like what they do. This is, but the funny thing is, for wrestling, this is normal. So why would they get up? You know, it's like, these 2 guys just.
I was really
like Michael P.S. Hayes couldn't be bothered to say anything to them fighting.
I was really hoping that Cody would just long dart AJ into one of the monitors and like break a monitor, but they need that for the rest of the show, so they just gingerly wrestled around the monitors, trying not to break anything.
You know how much actual heat that would have gotten?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not have been good.
Cody Rhodes should have just called Triple H a clown and told him he quit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bet.
I want a world title match on Dynamite, even though you gave power to this other guy. Yeah.
Well,
even though you had an entire gauntlet match to crown a #1 contender.
Oh boy. Well, thankfully this production team has a little bit more cognizance than that, especially because CIW just did this on a live event not too long ago. So thank you for once again stealing our ideas.
Go watch CIW.
We will wait for the royalty check that I assume will be coming in the mail. You are 90 minutes away from me, Titan Towers. I know you're listening.
I will drive up to Titan Towers.
Literally, I will pound on the door and get barred from the building.
Don't fuck with me.
Give you a bottle of Prime.
Do not fuck with me. I am the Sentinel now.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Logan Paul walked out and gave me a Prime and walked back into Titan Tower, I'd be like, all right, fair enough.
Okay, I'm satisfied now. That's all I need.
Good enough. Good enough. I can handle that. Anyway.
He gives you a prime and then a fist bump, but he fist bumps you with the titanium screw and it hurts your hand a little, but you're like, oh, he hurt my hand. That was so cool.
Yeah, I believe it. Uh-oh. I think Skyler just got beamed to another dimension.
Not again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I kind of anticipated would happen. Hopefully he will jump back in when the time is right. But I'm going to keep going. You want to keep going?
I'm still recording.
Me too. Which means that while Skyler desperately escapes out of the wormhole.
Am I good? Am I good?
He escaped from the wormhole.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I just got hit in the head by somebody.
Yeah, another premature table ejaculation. This is a serious problem, folks. And if you would
Skyler,
like to
stop
bet and see how
breaking those
quickly,
damn tables.
if you want to figure out and time just how quickly Skyler can premature table ejaculate, go to DraftKings.com today
Jesus.
and place your bets. That is a total reference.
What exact thing will cause his table to break?
Will it just be...
To answer your question, it's my dad turning off the Wi-Fi. I'm hoping that won't happen again, but I'm not going to guarantee it.
Well, we'll dig you out of the hole again if it happens again.
I hope
We've got
Shad
shovels.
Khan turns off the Wi-Fi.
Well, then you're not getting a podcast, Sean.
Well, your dad's not Shad Khan, thankfully. And
Unless.
It was me, Austin. It was me.
No, while I have curly hair, I have no desire to be Tony Khan. Thank you.
Skyler, that would be the ultimate plot twist. If you just Scooby-Dooed your face and was like and became Tony Khan.
It was me all along.
Can we just talk about this excellent wrestling match? I don't even want to talk about the Piss Hand Company right now.
You want to talk about
Fair
a long
enough.
con? Haha.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
But Sean, are you happy about the fact that we have juice?
well, I'm happy about the fact that Cole called AJ Styles a dope-a-dope after Corey Graves was talking about, oh, he's trying to do the rope-a-dope and wear Cody out. And then Michael Cole.
The show was sponsored by Gin and Juice.
Yes, it was, which was very strange.
It was fun.
But they did the double over the top rope
Uh-oh.
suplex spot.
Back into the wormhole. Go. Be right back.
This is gonna be a mess of
This podcast, it may be one of the best we've ever had.
Yeah.
Just wait, folks. When we actually start it, you're really gonna be impressed.
Like there's gonna be so much cutting room floor audio
I
that's
know.
gonna make it into the final episode
Yeah.
on my show. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Call us Kayatai, because there's gonna be a lot of choppy on that PP. Welcome back, Skyler.
What did I just come back into? All right, listen. I will hopefully be fine. I will hopefully be fine for the rest of the show. It's just my dad cut off the Wi-Fi. I had to go yell at him. I told him not to do it again. He won't do it again. Hopefully.
Damn Shad Khan, you've lied to us this whole
Damn
time.
it, Shad Khan. First Trevor Lawrence, and now this. How dare you? Well, as I was saying, the double over the top rope suplex spot is so good. It's one of my favorites. It's every time I see it, it's just magic. It was magic when they did the electric chair, I guess it was, with Becky and Rhea. But
I still don't know how they didn't fuck that up.
I don't know how they did that, man. That was incredible. But I love the over the top rope with the suplex as well. That's equally as good. And then they get back into the "We Want Tables" chant, and I was like, well, it's fun while it lasted.
The table will be there. We're going to use it in a minute.
Yep, because then we get a brainbuster on the table.
That was sick.
And here's the interesting thing. They took a while to do this, and then, as Skyler mentioned before, we got Cody, who juiced, I guess, like, just above, like, where his hairline is? Thought he almost...
He did it over his left eyebrow.
Yeah, I thought it was more like where his, like, it looked where he gigged was almost like at his temple. I was like, that's a weird place to gig. But no, it was like, it was closer to the top of his hair, though, than it was actually above his eyebrow, I thought.
I was honestly shocked when I saw that. Like they did it with The Rock, but still, like, them doing it during like a pay-per-view during a match. Like, when's the last time they've done that?
It's been a minute. It's been.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is that we have a new person in charge who wants to use some of the old tropes of wrestling, as tired as they are, Cody Rhodes.
Well, Cody was never afraid to gig, though. That was like the first thing he did when he left.
But his whole thing of like baby faces and heels thing, that old stuff.
I know, but Cody has never been shy about gigging. He was doing it like that was like the first thing he did when he left WWE the first time was just go everywhere and blade. He bladed in a match against Dalton Castle. Exactly. Judging by your silence. So, let's get back to the matter at hand.
The wormhole keeps opening up and swallowing us all.
Yeah, this has been quite unfortunate. This is maybe you know what? Maybe we've mentioned WWE listening too many times, and now they're just trying. They're tracking us live at the time of recording. But we get the Oshi Goroshi, which was nice. Then Glasgow gets a little un-PG.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, that's kind of the charm of this show, is that they're really unashamed of whatever it is they do. But
I mean, the middle finger was prominent. There was a lot of fucks and shits and motherfuckers.
That's true.
Dude, I died every time Cody was like, I refuse to quit. And AJ's like, motherfucker. And the camera just caught it every time. I was dying.
And Cody's trying to remain the cleanest guy on a roster with very, very foul sailor mouths.
Yes. Cody's definitely the, gosh, dang it, mother trucker.
Yeah.
Gee Willikers, Batman.
Yeah, hold on to that thought. Because that actually is a point I'm going to bring up later. But in any case, this match was just so good. But then we get to one of my biggest complaints. I hate the fact they did the Pillmanizing neck spot halfway through this match.
Yeah, I can kind of see why you'd have an issue with that.
I despise that. Is a hospitalization angle. Cody didn't even bleed from the mouth, so we didn't even get that visual. That bothered me. I'm like, oh, boo. But here's the thing: in a vacuum, I'm willing to take that one spot out and still enjoy the rest of the match.
For me, like, if AJ went to the top rope and then did that, and then they just kept wrestling, I would have been annoyed by it. But since he just did a knee drop on it, it didn't bother me. Like, we've seen people, like, slam chairs on it. Like, other objects. Shawn Michaels do a diving elbow on top of the chair wrapped around the neck. Just like a stomp or, like, a knee. That I feel like that's fine. I wouldn't have done it either, but if at least he didn't, like, go to the top rope.
I mean, if this was AEW, that chair would have been on fire.
If this was AEW, he would have wrapped the chair around his head and did 15 Canadian destroyers and then go for another 30 minutes.
There would have been barbed wire, and the second he did the knee drop, there would have been an explosion.
And they'd still get back up like 0.6 seconds later.
Yeah.
None of that would be...
Listen, we don't mean this to be a bashing AEW podcast, but that is inevitably what it's going to be.
They do it to themselves. It's not our fault that they give us this kind of material.
It really shouldn't have to be compared to AEW. We shouldn't have to compare. It's just that we do because look at what else is around.
Yeah. Well,
I will...
Oh, go ahead, JoshAgeddon.
I will take every opportunity to take a steaming shit all over AEW. Like, even if I'm, like, at work and I just randomly sneeze, I'm like, fuck AEW.
It's
and
fun.
Then just go about my day.
It is fun to do. I won't lie to you. I very much enjoy taking the piss out of AEW myself. It's become one of my favorite pastimes.
And we were just like the gigging. We were like so shocked, and it added a lot to this I Quit match. We rarely ever see this in WWE. Meanwhile, they do this in AEW almost every match, and we're like, can you fucking stop bleeding?
Yeah, no.
Can you like stop?
They literally.
Can you not gig on camera, please? With the camera pointing at you while you're carving at your forehead? Can you not?
Doing it almost intentionally.
Yeah.
At that point, but...
It is crazy, like, how the difference in quality between the companies now. It is ridiculous. Like, there's a chasm now.
NXT is beating AEW right now.
Well deserved. Deserved.
That's where we're at.
Although I could do with a lot less sexy red.
Well, don't worry, you won't have to because she's arrested anyways. Now, of course, they do the chair, they did the kendo stick, they did the belt. Then AJ puts him in the STF, which was better than John Cena's STF, and actually made Cody Rhodes pass out. But because it's an I Quit match, you have to quit.
Well, I don't hate this spot. And just to back up for a second, I actually didn't mind the kendo stick this time. I still think it's dumb to have under the ring because there's really no justification for it. But if you're going to have it, this was the time and this was the manner in which to do it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with it.
It should be like in a spot where you're like torturing someone.
Yeah.
Like that's the best usage for it.
Yeah, but when it gets to
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
Yeah,
It was just one of those things where like they did this spot with the STF and AJ to protect him, basically to keep him strong, because like if this was a regular match, he would have been the champion right there and then there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I also
like
love. I loved that he grabbed the belt from for one, he just yoinked the belt off the referee, and that was hilarious. Almost pants the referee. And what made me laugh is he was doing everything but wrapping that belt around Cody's throat, because that's still a big no-no. So he's like, I'll just wrap it around his forehead.
You could tell how badly he wanted to, though.
Yeah, I'll fucking scalp him with it.
You could tell how bad he wanted to, but I will say this before, like, the belt spot, it didn't quite land, and Glasgow let him know it. But here's the thing, there was this funny moment where AJ goes and he, like, yells at Corey to get him a water bottle, and literally, and he, he drank a little bit of it and threw it, and I'm looking at this shot while he's doing this going, there is literally a cart full of Prime over there. That is the sponsor. I'm like, all right, I guess AJ doesn't like Prime then. He's gonna make the point to walk over to Corey and get water. Like,
tasted it once and like, this
this is not for me. And but
AJ, there's literally an entire hydration station to your right.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, is that after the water bottle, AJ goes to the other side. He grabs a velvet bag, and my heart skipped a beat, like, they're not actually going to do it.
I'll tell you what,
and then,
what annoyed me before, I don't mean to interrupt you, Sky, but what annoyed me about that is they're definitely listening, because I've mentioned the fact that they're in a satchel, right? The velvet satchel. And Corey Graves was like, well, you know what we carry in velvet satchels? I'm like, shut the fuck up, Corey. Stop this.
But then the next thing that AJ says to the camera very loudly is, I know what y'all think this is, but it's not that. It's even better. And then pours out the handcuffs.
They listen to our show.
They do. They have to. They have to. There is
AJ
no
listens,
way to explain
Corey
it.
listens.
I don't know who it is, but
and again,
somebody
it's making fun of AEW and taking a shot at them with the thumbtack thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm telling you. Where is my royalty check? That's my question.
It'll be 2 bottles of Prime.
Yeah. You know what? Give me the whole hydration station. Just give me the whole. AJ's not drinking out of it, so it literally served no purpose this time around, too. That was the funniest
Other than
part.
to have people get thrown into it.
Oh, man.
Now, here's something I would have changed with this match. Is that AJ goes over to yell at Cody Rhodes' mom, and Cody Rhodes' mom slaps him a couple times. Mm-hmm. AJ should have slapped her back at one time.
I actually thought that he should have had some sort of physical contact with her as well. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought, man, it'd be nice to get some real heat for a change, but...
Okay, about that. They might be saving that for someone else. Who was the person?
And if they are, then that's great, but if they aren't, then that seems like a waste of a spot.
They have to have Randy Orton
He
yanked John Cena's dad over the barricade and punted the shit out of him.
I want to
fucking yank Michelle over the barricade and RK. He's already punted one of Cody's parents. Why not the other?
You know what? I now 100% want to see that happen.
Me too.
100%. Because Orton can then be like, yeah, I had like a medical condition when I kicked your dad. This was not a medical condition. This was just me wanting to do this.
And again, this is Randy Orton. He's RKO'd Dusty before. He's punted him before. You can play that in the video packages.
Yeah. You could also, like, if it were me, I would, like, have Brandy there too. He turns around, RKO's her too. RKO's both the mom and the wife. We've seen him RKO one woman before, but we haven't seen him RKO 2 women before.
Oh, man. Well, there you go.
But again, that's my thing, is that if they're going to be teasing this stuff, they need to have it. They need to follow through on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this was kind of one of the funny things. They pulled out those handcuffs, and the Glasgow crowd went, kinky bastard. And I was like, okay, that's pretty funny.
Nice.
I'm like, wow, Glasgow.
But then AJ Styles puts the handcuffs on Cody behind his back, hits him with the candlestick. Cody says, now. And then he's like, what do I have to do?
Yep, I got that as well. It wasn't the only time.
So he puts his chain around his arm, goes up to the top rope, tries to do a phenomenal forearm. Cody Rhodes throws a chair at AJ, who then proceeds to take a bump on the apron and the table at the same time.
AJ's so goddamn good.
That was awesome. That was maybe one of the most creative table spots I've seen them do in a hot minute.
I can't think of anyone other than AJ that could have pulled off that like that sequence of bumps, because he took like 3 bumps. He fell down into the rope, then on the apron, and then somehow head first through the table.
Well, and also credit to Cody Rhodes for throwing that chair at exactly the right time in exactly the right place for that to land. Without causing a stage 3 concussion, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And
again, we're talking about professionals here.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, thankfully, AJ Studd, it was A+, and then, of course, that got him some juice. And that was also really nice, even though Cody's had mostly disappeared. Now, I won't lie to you guys. When Cody picked up the key to the handcuffs, and I realized it was a key, when he first pulled out the bag, for whatever reason, I thought that it was a pair of handcuffs and a cross. Because, like AJ Styles is like a religion guy, right? So, like, I thought that, maybe AJ had it so, God would be by his side. I don't know. I don't know what was going through my head at the moment, but when I realized it was a key, I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. But then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if it was a cross that was also the lock that opened up the handcuffs? These are the thoughts that go through my mind. This is the stuff WWE doesn't take.
I'll tell you what I was thinking. We have found someone that...
Would you like to... and his brain went dead.
Yeah.
Would you mind repeating that, sir?
I said we found a wrestler who knows how to use basic tools, and his name is Cody Rhodes. He didn't fumble around with... He stuck that key in there and immediately released himself. He didn't fumble around with it for like an awkward 30 seconds.
I mean, he is the son of a plumber.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, he's probably the closest to a blue-collar worker they got. that's
and he's the one that always dresses like a fucking politician.
I know. He's the one who looks like a politician.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, technically, he looks like an American supervillain.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Well, even he acknowledged the fact that he looks like Homelander.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Well, and then Cody goes and he gets the stairs and he handcuffs him.
And then he even does the Hulk up Hogan bit of the crossroads on the chair.
It works. I listen. If I know it's the Hulk up, I'm like, I recognize what this is, but the people eat it up. You can't even take it away from him, because I love it.
I'm not gonna lie. It makes me so happy whenever Cody goes anywhere and the crowd just adores him.
Yeah.
Because there's still all these assholes online, and they're only online. We're like, Cody's not over. Roman should have never lost the belt. WrestleMania 40 was a mistake. Fuck you. Every single crowd, every single arena, TV show, pay-per-view, house show, they go nuts whenever Cody goes out there on stage.
Dude, there's tons of Cody shirts everywhere.
Exactly.
Dude, he's pushing merch. Like he's doing just fine.
I love Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, he's
And again, the guy who said, I had to bet on myself because I believed I could be the main event player of this company. I could be the face of it, and now we realized it.
All that said, still funny that he was curtain jerking on this show.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Sean?
Poor talent name. And of all the years of working his way to the top, and in his first big match, big feud defense, talent name. Women's tag team
No, he main evented France. He main evented France. He main evented Saudi Arabia.
But he wasn't a women's tag team champion
But he wasn't women's tag champion at the time. See, that's the thing. But
Cody Rhodes was his previous gimmick. This talent name is a new thing he's trying.
That's right. So they get the handcuffs and they Cody hooks up AJ to him, gets the stairs, and and AJ finally says, "I quit," and that's the end of the match. And this is the part I hated. Not the way that the "I quit" happened. That was fine. Because that
reminded Cody hit him with the steps anyway.
That reminded me of Cena and JBL, honestly, a little bit, when he had that truck spoke. And here's the difference. If Cody is, instead of this motherfucker, he's just like the Jiminy Jillikers, Jinkies, hey, how you doing? Kiss the baby politician guy. He shouldn't hit AJ with the stairs afterwards. In the middle of his song, and it just confused people. And then he put the stairs up, and then they did the announcement. And I personally was like, this is where you prove you're bigger than that situation, right? I think the fact that he won the "I Quit" match was enough to prove to Cole, why are we proving things to Michael Cole? Again, let's get back to that thought at some other time. But this whole thing, like, can I get down and dirty? I'm like, well, you both bled, you made him bleed, and now you're going to hit him with steel stairs. But at the end of the day, you're champion. You proved your point that he was a coward. Mission accomplished. Bask in your victory. I don't think there was a need for who Cody Rhodes is as a gimmick for the additional hit with the stairs. Unnecessary, and I don't think it accomplished and what they were trying to accomplish with it. That's just my opinion.
I didn't mind it personally, but I can see how it doesn't mesh with his character. I took it. I took it as he fucking hates AJ for betraying him and lying to him and threatening his mom with a chair. So it didn't bother me. I do think that the whole turning the music on just to turn the music off, just to turn it back on again, they could have waited with the music.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, Sean, at the end of the day, is that you can have your opinion and you can have the wrong opinion, but you can have your opinion.
All right.
Cody Rhodes absolutely needed the bean AJ in the head with that chair. Do you want to know why?
Well, then get on with it. Don't wait for 2 minutes while AJ's sitting there already cowering, turning the music on. Do it right after AJ quits then.
Well, that's the thing, is that you listen.
By the way,
well, here's the thing, is that it didn't take 2 minutes. Cody Rhodes looked at his mom and he's like, should I? And absolutely, that dude's an asshole. And okay, bam. The thing for me about this is that Cody Rhodes is not the squeaky clean babyface that John Cena was. And we don't need that. It's 2024. I'm tired of the squeaky clean Hulk Hogan, John Cena babyface. Cody Rhodes, if he's going to remain a babyface, has to have an edge because people like babyfaces with edges.
Yeah,
people like baby faces with edges, not Copeland's.
I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on this one. I didn't like it. I really didn't. And it to me.
Would it have been justified if AJ had slapped Cody's mom earlier in the match?
Then I would have been okay with it. But she already slapped AJ. He didn't get any heat for it, so there was no need to do that. So it just made Cody look like a dick for having AJ quit anyway, even though he didn't do anything to his mom.
Honestly,
he should have thrown some water on her. I don't know. He should have thrown Prime at her.
Yes, I would have accepted that. Something. But there was no heat to get rid of with the steps. So it was Cody just being a dick. And I don't know. I don't think that tracks. Oh, and it could be, I'll say this. It could just be the execution of how this was done. This is not a bad idea theoretically, right? I just think that for what happened here, I just didn't like it. It didn't do it for me.
Again, I think I'm kind of in the middle. I do think the execution could have been better. The whole turning off and on the music really did confuse the crowd. Confused me a little bit. I was like, wait, hold on. Are we still doing this? I feel like if they did it better, it would have been much better.
But hey, my whole thing is that as they improve and get better at this, then they'll learn the lesson and they'll move on and whatever. And then Cody Rhodes is going to the back, and here comes Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, and I like this too. I mean, this ending was great because it got two pieces that were bound to converge, and I think now was the time to do it because you've got a couple months to SummerSlam. to build up to whatever the big match is you're building up to, which they've got quite a couple avenues now they can go through.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it turns into, you know, a bit of a fight, and then Kevin Owens and Randy, when Randy's music hits, the crowd loses it.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of just chase off the bloodline, and they, you know, and they celebrate, and Cody Rhodes is a champ. But my favorite image of this is the very last shot, as, as Randy Orton's holding Cody's hand. He's not looking at Cody. He's looking at the WWE Championship.
Exactly. That was the perfect way to sign off on that.
That was I liked that a lot. It was super subtle, but it was not subtle enough that people wouldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of
But
storytelling
is
I
it
love.
too early to do that story?
I don't disagree with you.
Well,
But is it too early? That's the question.
Is it
No,
too
no.
early?
I do think that what they should do, or what they're going to do, is they do the Cody, Kevin, and Randy thing with the bloodline, and have like a 6-man tag at Money in the Bank. And Money in the Bank is where you pull the trigger on Randy Orton, going, "I want the WWE title. I just got back from back surgery. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here." Kind of like AJ. I want the WWE title one more time. Oh, look, your mom's in the audience. RKO.
Yeah, I don't know, because Cody's got a lot of big feuds on the table. You know, there's gonna eventually be a match with Cody and The Rock. There's gonna be a match that he's got, the rematch between Cody and Roman Reigns. That's on the docket somewhere. Even though I think for the most part, Roman is coming back as a babyface who's gonna be kind of just feuding with his own blood, his own kind, with the bloodline. I think that's kind of where they're gonna take him.
What a way to put it.
But I don't know if it's too early to pull the trigger on Orton. I don't know, because I think that it's definitely going to draw. It should be saved, at least the first match of that feud, whatever it's going to be, should be saved for a big 4.
Dude, when Roman comes back, though, the reaction he's going to get, oh my God.
It's going to tear the roof off of wherever they do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something. I'm really looking forward to when that happens. But it was all good stuff. And now I will say it, but I'm gonna mention it more when we get to the actual position I would have put this. Personally, my sensibilities would not want the Universal Undisputed WWE Championship. I know they're not using Universal anymore, but it's the whole point here is that this title shouldn't ever go on first. And I kind of joked that it's like AJ and the WWE title cannot get out of the first match ever. He couldn't do it in 2017, and they couldn't do it in 2024. They can't get this dude out of opening when he's in the WWE title picture. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why this is a thing with AJ, but it is. But my thing is this. I understand you can't have it main event because Drew is the draw. I get that. I understand you have a hometown female in Piper Niven, even though they tried to build that match to be something of importance, which it ended up kind of not being. And why that was there. But at the very least, if you're going to have both world title matches on this show, this match should have gone on later than this. It's a double juice where you hardly ever do juice ever. It's an I Quit match. It's a stipulation match. For example, just to put this in perspective, think about Unforgiven 2006. 6 matches, had some underratedly good matches on the undercard, including including Randy Orton and Carlito in a great match, and also a Kane and Umaga match that did not suck. And then the last 2 matches are the Hell in a Cell match, the 3-on-2 with DX and the McMahons and Big Show. And then right after that, the TLC main event with hometown hero Edge and John Cena. I'm just saying.
Wasn't Trish and Lita after the Hell in a Cell?
Yes, it was. That match, that card was good. And but my point is this. On a small B show where there's cards like this, you can put big matches with big stipulations later in the night because they're still big features. And trust me, you have enough commercial breaks and time in between where people can recover enough to have back-to-back bangers like this. That's just my opinion. That is just the way I would structure these kind of shows, especially because, you know, I actually have to agree with Skyler, as we were talking about this earlier, about putting the match that we're about to talk about, this triple threat women's tag, start with that. And then go Intercontinental title, women's title, Cody, AJ, and then the main event of Drew and Damian. You've got enough space in between where people can go pee and buy concessions and whatnot before the big moment happens. I understand why they do these big matches first deal. That's been part of WWE's formula. I, as the fantasy booker that I am, which accounts for absolutely zero grand scheme, I would not have put this match first, especially because this match was one of the best things on the show on what was really a pretty darn good show, all things considered.
Well, Sean, me and you are just going to have to agree to disagree, because this is the whole thing about where you don't like triple threats, but I like triple threats. I did not have it's not like I was like, oh my gosh, I hope and pray that they make Cody and AJ go first. I was just honestly fine with it, because when the card was coming together, I was like, okay, Drew and Priest are definitely main eventing.
Right.
I was thinking they're either going to open with the women's triple threat or Cody versus AJ, because those are the two for me that make the most sense. And the second that AJ's music hit, I was like, okay, this makes sense, because I would not have put this forth, because if you have a bunch of matches, except for the women's triple threat tag match, you have a bunch of regular matches, then you have the stipulation match go not last, but next to last. And that to me is just weird. And I wouldn't put this second or third. I would not put this in the middle of the show, again, because it's the WWE title. It is not the mid-card title. Like the Intercontinental title match, in my opinion, was perfectly placed. It's the mid-card championship in the middle of the card. But I understand your grievances with this match placement, despite your incessant whining about it in our group chat.
Which has just been kind of fun to do just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, just seeing what GIF I can respond to.
Enjoying the
time.
trolling has been 3/4 of me saying it as frequently as I have been. But in any case, you still alive, Skyler, or did the worms get you? Okay, well, say hello to the worms for us. As I don't know what the hell's happened here. Oh, maybe it's tis I that's the problem. Maybe I've lost both of them.
Oh, I'm still here. I can still hear you, Sean.
Okay, well then Skyler was just lost to the worms, the brain worms.
No. I'm allowing Joshua to get his point across.
Okay. Sean did briefly become digitized for a second there, but I didn't have a problem with the match placement on this show. I figured it was either going to be the I Quit or the triple threat starting things off. I do not have a problem at all with the I Quit starting off, and I completely understand why they did it.
With the benefit of hindsight, I would have had Cody and AJ be later on in the card, just because it was a very good match, and I think as a co-main event it would have been fine. But we are also way past the point where what match is booked is going to matter to selling tickets. WWE is going to sell tickets no matter what.
Right.
Like, these fans are just going to eat everything up.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's a good point. I know that these things are a relevant grand scheme, you know, but now that we're on the Triple H curve, you know, I'm getting a little bit stricter with what my preferences are, and because somebody up there is listening, let's keep it going. Let's see how much I can recreate this program in my image.
Well, would you have recreated the program with the triple threat women's tag team title match?
Well, listen, I'm not a miracle worker. I can't change everything about Triple H. They're listening to some things, and you know, but it's the Road Warriorettes versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Isla.
Okay, that was good.
Isla Dawn and Elsa
Alba Fire.
and Anna and
I'm not calling her Alba
Sven.
Fire. She is Kaylee Ray. Fuck off.
And the Scottish ladies. Now, gentlemen, you may not know about Iron Brew. But as someone who has gone to Scotland, I can tell you what Iron Brew tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Brew is an orange soda that tastes like bubble gum. And I do not understand the appeal. But it is something that Scots go crazy about.
Mm-hmm.
That is just a fact. If anyone wanted to know what it tastes like, I've had it. I don't get it, but I'm also American, so Americans don't have tastes. So, in any case, and then I did like Wade Barrett going, yeah, that's like the bat signal to Scottish people.
Okay, I don't know.
But in any case, this was kind of a Road Warrior beat 'em up match, or at least I thought for the first part of it. I thought this whole match was supposed to be about kind of Bianca and Jade just hoofing everybody in sight. That is not what this match ended up being.
No, it was not.
Well, kind of. Kind of.
For me, the first 2/3 of this match was fine. And the last third completely collapsed. I was not a fan of this match personally. Before the show, I was like, I even said in the group chat, I'm probably going to skip this match. In retrospect, I kind of wish I did.
I don't think there was only one moment in the match I didn't like. It was the moment that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing fine. They had a story. They were going to execute it. They were doing perfectly. And then it was just one mistake.
There were a couple.
It was one mistake that led to...
It was one big mistake.
Yeah.
After that mistake, the match just got super sloppy. Like, the work got very sloppy.
Well, that's what kind of happens once the hot tag comes about either way. Like, what I would say is that while it started off with a categoric botch, I imagine that it probably would have gotten the sloppy level that it did regardless. It's kind of what these matches degenerate into at some point. Inevitably, once the hot tag happens and everybody just starts doing their deal, it kind of just... There's nowhere to go but this spot. Personally.
And aside from that, okay, I mentioned my boner for triple threats and fatal four-ways earlier. I'm fine with triple threats and fatal four-ways as long as they aren't tags. I never want to see a triple threat tag or a fatal four-way tag ever again on any show ever, because I'm over the concept. I just hate it. I hate this match style.
Is it just too many bodies?
It's too many bodies, too much happening. It's always the same exact match.
That's my problem with it. It's always the same exact match.
It is just more moves, and then it is just even more moves than that. This had a story, so this one was a little bit different, but then it became a sloppy Joe factory near the end. And if I never saw another one of these matches ever again, I would be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's my thing. What was the goal of this match, realistically?
To do 450 knees to Shayna's spine.
to give Shayna Baszler a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yeah. That's all I got.
It was to get the tag team belt. To get the tag team belts on the Scottish women without pinning Jade and Bianca.
Yeah, well, that's just it.
Exactly.
It's exactly what Skyler hates about these triple threat matches, as he mentioned on the last podcast. It's somebody eats the pin because they don't want somebody else to get pinned yet.
Did I make my point about triple threat? Because this is the exact same thing, Joshua.
It doesn't bother me when it's like a regular triple threat. Like, again, at Backlash, I liked the triple threat. Well, I thought the triple threat was okay between Bayley, Tiffany.
Let's call it for what it is, okay? The triple threat that was at Saudi Arabia, at least the guys that were in there were better quality workers than most of the women in this match.
Yeah.
I can get past the triple threat if you have the quality workers, like Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul was at Mania.
That was great.
And they had a decent story for this match. My issue with it is that, again, it was immediately obvious that Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark were there to get pins.
Dude.
Yeah, like, I didn't even know that they were a tag team until they showed up together. I'm like, oh.
No, they've been tagging together for at least a year.
Yeah, they have, honestly.
Really?
Like, yes. Well, this is what happens when you don't watch Raw, Sean. You don't miss amazing tag teams like Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
Yeah, I'm missing out.
Dude.
Which, by the way, I don't know if Zoe Stark has gotten any better or not, but this match did not do any favors.
I hate Zoe Stark. She is so... Everything she does is lame. Her facials are lame. Her moves are lame. There was honestly a production issue that I had where she did that stupid springboard spinning senton thing out of the corner, and the way they shot it, it actually looked kind of devastating. They then showed a replay from a different angle. She didn't even touch the person.
Never.
Well, the reason why it looked good was because Bianca Belair's ass was in the camera's way.
Good. Don't show the angle where it doesn't connect.
Yeah, that's just smart.
And I'm just like, again, this is one of my problems with modern women wrestling. They like to add unnecessary flips to cover up the fact that they're shitty workers sometimes.
Yeah, but
like
you know,
Zoe Stark.
John, what did you call it with Liv Morgan at last pay-per-view? Trying to do a difficulty of 10 with execution of 5?
Yeah, that's
Stark.
basically Zoe Stark. And you know what? You have to think deep down. I think WWE management knows that, because I really think that the teaming up with Trish Stratus was the sink or swim moment for Zoe Stark, and she sank. And I think they understand that she ain't ready for it. So that's why she's teaming up with Shayna Baszler, right?
2024 Shayna Baszler makes me sad.
Me too. But honestly, I'm not even invested in her anymore. There's nothing to invest in. It's like she's somebody who would benefit from actually going to UFC and like doing some fights and coming back, even if she loses, just something. But
the thing is that Shayna Baszler is 43. Most UFC mixed martial artists retire, especially females, by their mid-30s because they can't compete with the younger people no more.
She should fight Ronda. She can use a shot in the arm.
No, we're not doing that again. I know you love that match.
Come on, it was so good the first time.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Come on.
And if we do have that match, it is not going on fourth. It is not.
Given the number of concussion issues that Ronda Rousey has, there is no way she'll get cleared.
No, you're probably right about that, but I don't care about UFC at all. But the one botch we're all talking about, we didn't even mention what it was. Jade gets tagged in, she tries to do the springboard clothesline, and she just falls.
She did her best Candice Michelle impression where Beth Phoenix tripped her up and she like headbutted the mat. It wasn't anywhere near as gnarly, but all of Scotland had Skyler's exact reaction. Oh.
Yeah. Which was pretty funny.
The look on her face, she was so mad.
She was hot. She was hot. You could tell. But to her credit, she recovered pretty quickly thereafter.
I kind of forgot about it immediately because she started giving everyone just sick-looking spine busters.
Yeah. That's
the thing is that she started doing this thing where like she was just kicking Shayna Baszler while doing a power bomb to Abaddon was like amazing.
Yeah.
Jade, I love you, and I know that you're still learning, but you don't need to do the springboard thing.
Yeah, I don't think she needs that either. I agree.
It looked good the one time you did it where you didn't face plant, but you don't save it for WrestleMania.
Special occasion.
It was noted by a person on Twitter that the ropes that they brought to this show were a little bit looser than they normally are.
Well,
that's I don't know if that's just the issue with the ropes, but then other people were able to do springboards with no issue.
Jade doesn't need it. Fucking look at her. She doesn't need a springboard.
She doesn't need it. I agree with Joshua on that one. I think that again, save it for special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would.
And then we get the other major mistake that Jade Cargill made. She does her comeback. Shayna Baszler gets her in the care for the clutch, and Jade Cargill with her right hand obviously tapped out.
And the announcers are screaming at the referee, "She tapped out! Jessica! Jessica!" And I'm just like, oh, la cringe.
I don't know. That was really close. That was really close. Yeah, I don't know.
It was very hard because she was shaking her hand, so it could have been just interpreted as like her losing feeling and trying to get feeling back in her hand.
Yeah.
But the way that it looked like she tapped out, and Jessica just happened to be in the wrong spot.
The camera angle didn't help it. I'll say that. But once again, having just done an angle very similar to that on CIW programming, I would also say that it was. I'm going to give her benefit of the doubt there. I'm going to give her benefit of the doubt that it was just a bad angle.
Yeah.
Right, and then Bianca comes in with a beautiful springboard 450 knees to the back.
I needed the Mortal Kombat X-ray rib break on that.
was
poor
gnarly.
Shayna. How are her legs still functional after that?
And
well, you should worry about Bianca's knees.
Probably
her
both.
knees, Shayna's spine.
I'd say probably both were hurt after that.
Unfortunately, Jade was still kind of out of it, so when Bianca sent Shayna into the corner, Jade was not ready to give the punch that she was supposed to give.
Yeah.
And then she threw the ostrich kick and missed.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is getting rough quick.
And you notice how they go into the finisher, go home.
Yeah, they were like, fuck it, let's just do our tag team finish. And the DDT looked fine. And then we got the most clunky, gentle, awkward wheelbarrow German suplex I've ever seen. And then Isla gave Jade Cargill she's been watching Kenny Omega's Snapdragons where they barely get off.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay.
And I was like, that was the weakest German ever. And then the worst part was Shayna was looking at them while they were suplexing, while she was suplexing Jade, and then she was like, oh, I got to pretend to be unconscious again. And then Isla goes over and pinned her. And I'm just like, well, that was a disaster at the end.
Was the issue the fact that Jade Cargill, because she's too tall to get Germaned?
I want to know who the agent was that was like, have Isla German Jade. I want to give them a stern talking to.
Yeah, listen.
Now, here's the thing. Go ahead, Sean.
I understand them wanting to do one babyface or one hometown victory on the night. So, but man, did I feel like there was a lot more to be done with that tag title reign. And I know that they're gonna get it back real quick. I'm not even disputing that, but I just thought there was a lot more to be done with that. And I know triple threat, and this was the whole point, and the way they justified it at the end.
And like you have been saying in the group chat, Sean.
I mean, it's very hard when real life circumstances interfere with the gimmicks.
Yeah. But like Sean was saying in the group chat, they could have made the whole thing with Kaylee Ray's parents and the story of what was going on. They could have they waited till after she won the belt to talk about it.
Which I understand now, considering that I didn't know, because you can't really tell with these triple threat structured matches, that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were both heels. I didn't know that. So it'd be kind of weird if you mentioned that when they're heels. This was kind of something to kind of bring them more into a babyface light. I didn't think that was the whole overall point was to get them to turn, but considering the reception they got, and then Cole saying it there at the end, that kind of smoothed that idea over for me. However,
I mean, the family and the bouquet of flowers that were just happened to conveniently be there.
Yeah, however, it would have been nice, because they are from Scotland, to at least make some recognition of that before this, just to give it a little more weight to the win, It's like you still want to see Bianca and Jade win, but, at the same time, you also have another case for the other team. But again, it was 2 heels versus 1 babyface in this, so what do you do here? I mean, you could mention it earlier and that'd be fine, because it's just Cole mentioning it, not necessarily it going over everybody and like the PA hearing it.
Yeah.
But
the thing, though, again, is to mention is that, like, Jade Cargill and Bianca, they're not done with that tag team. There's still way too much money to do that. And also, this match kind of proved that Jade Cargill is still not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the past several matches they've had with them, instead of having their men's tag team matches on any pay-per-view they've done, there's been a botch-filled Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair tag match. Some of them have been good, but all of them have degenerated at some point in the match.
Yep. And they need to fix that.
They need to work on that. There's no
now,
debate.
here's the question: is it Jade's fault or is it whoever's booking the match's fault?
Well, does this not kind of expose just how many quality women's wrestlers they have? That I don't know if you can get really adequate, good experience working with a lot of these women's wrestlers.
Yeah, you're not gonna get like an experienced, thorough, like this is how you wrestle with fucking Liv Morgan.
Yeah,
Or Zoe Stark.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm just considering, like, I'm not trying to knock any of those ladies, right? Shayna or Zoe or Isla or Idris Elba. I whatever. I'm not trying to knock any of them. But I was waiting for somebody to catch it. But they are not going to be the ones to really give Jade the experience that she needs in order to be the top single star that she's eventually going to inevitably become, I think. But right now, we are not there. And we asked before, like, how many quality women's tag teams are there for them to work with? And they've been trying, but I think at this point they have to know that they have a limited talent pool in that division at best.
Yeah.
It also doesn't hurt that they have a lot of injuries and people going away to their roster that makes it harder for them to be able to do this stuff. As much as you belie her, Sean, and as much as you belie her, Joshua, Charlotte is still a quality wrestler.
Yeah, she's just in the witness protection program.
Right. I mean, Becky was getting hurt towards the end, but she's still a quality wrestler. Same thing with Rhea Ripley, obviously gone. And yes, I know that singles wrestlers, that's still people that Jade could work with or learn from in the locker room or on house show circuit. Because, again, they've been putting her ass in the house show circuit, making her wrestle 3 or 4 matches a week.
Which is good. Needs it.
But as for this match, it wasn't bad. There were moments, but the whole thing, it was okay. It was all right.
It was there.
I will say that I think this was the worst match on the show, and even if it was like sloppy at points, it was still a decent match. And if this is the low bar of the show, then I'm okay with it.
Agreed.
So then we get to the middle of the road, the middle of the card, the mid card for the Intercontinental card. It is Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. And this matchup, and then we get a little bit of the Wyatt deal, which is coming at SummerSlam, presumably.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Actually, tonight. It's going to happen tonight.
Tomorrow.
As we're speaking right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be fun. Good luck to all of you who are involved in that. This match I was enthralled with pretty much from start to finish. Really enjoyed this back and forth between these two.
Skyler?
Huh?
Brief overview of the Intercontinental Champion.
Chip.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, what's your thought? What was good? What was bad? Do you have any feeling in your soul?
I'm a dead cucumber on the inside.
I'm allergic to cucumbers. So
Cats are afraid of cucumbers. for some reason.
So my thing about this match is that Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, they're going to wrestle a good match. Like, I don't have any worries about that. I just had an issue with the finish.
Yeah, I thought this was tremendous. I hated the result.
Well, I guess I'll be the one who describes most of the stuff here then, I suppose. I mean,
Yeah.
it started out with a collar double tie-up. Good. Appreciate
Sean Happy
that.
Squee.
Yep, made me very happy. And, it was great technically back and forth. They were giving it space. They were working the arm, but they're still getting some investment in the Otis angle. I'm pretty sure they did a promo, or the crowd did a chant of Gable as a wanker,
Yep, Gable is a wanker.
which was nice. Appreciated
And
that.
then Michael Cole was like, Wade, you care to translate? And Wade was like,
Yeah, he had nothing for that.
What am I allowed to say on this program?
But, Gable gets the heat. Sammy makes the comeback. I love that drop kick that intercepts whatever's going on from the top rope.
Dude, that was
good.
so sexy.
It looks
Oh my
so
God.
good. And it's so nice. It's so nice seeing Chad Gable get some prominence. They're actually
Exactly.
using him now, which is so much better
Yeah.
than the way it
And
used to be.
Dude, Wade Barrett was on fire in this match, and my favorite part. Well, honestly, my favorite part was something that I think it was Skyler that mentioned in the group chat, where he was like, "I love how Wade Barrett's cutting a promo on how the Alpha Academy sucks as a gimmick, and that's why Chad is a heel now."
Yeah,
That was great.
It was like Sean was speaking through Wade Barrett.
Basically,
I know. And again, I have no control over that. They're just taking.
Wade Barrett also watches our program.
It could be him. He might be the one. You might be.
Remember, keep in mind that Michael Cole is in charge of all commentary teams and all commentators and tells them where to get their notes and get their directions. So Michael Cole, again, is in charge of all of it.
So it
Be
could
sure
be
to
Michael
like
Cole.
this video. Be sure to like.
Listen, you're going to watch this court martial podcast thing, whatever it is on YouTube. You're going to take notes from what they say and you're going to use them on the show.
That's right. Next,
Listen, Sean goes on forever. Skyler's always mad about something, and Joshua is the creepy uncle. But it'll be okay. There are morsels that we can use here and there.
That's right. But mostly write down that Sean guy's stuff. He seems to be the person of most interest. But in any case, I love Sammy selling the arm during the Michinoku driver cover.
You cut out at the perfect time on my end.
Oh,
You cut out at the perfect time on my end.
I'm sure I did.
Dude,
Sure I did.
I have never seen a one-armed Michinoku driver before. That was amazing.
Yeah, I loved that. And even the selling on the cover was awesome.
And his selling when he was trying to Irish whip Chad Gable was great as well.
And then we get a surprise flying headbutt.
Mm-hmm. The power bomb, dude. We mentioned it before. No one takes a power bomb like Sami Zayn. It just looks brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, Sami Zayn right now is the best person in WWE at getting beat up.
Yeah, he's
Basically,
the best
yeah.
seller, no doubt. He is the best seller of pain. That switch to the half and half plex was nice, but man, that landing on Gable's head.
I was about to say, he as great as Sammy is at taking bumps, the sickest looking bump was not one that Sammy took in this.
Ooh.
I don't know how Chad's legs work either.
Yeah, that was. Ooh.
That is the sickest looking suplex I have seen in a hot minute. He landed right on the top of his head.
Yeah, he sure did.
There are a lot of suplexes in this match that were just nasty and gross and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Gable threw a punch for a hot second on the 1-2, which was nice. Did the ankle lock. We get the what do I have to do yet again.
Mm-hmm.
The Chaos Theory was terrific. Which
Even though Sammy kind of kicked out a teeny bit late, that was still, like, in my opinion, as far as like crowd reaction, best near fall of the night.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit of the Kurt Angle, wait till 2.95.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was just there. It was
But
just
my
there.
God,
But it was there.
that is such a perfect move for Chad. His bridge on that Chaos Theory German.
Beautiful.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely beautiful.
And it's just sad that, like, Vince McMahon's idea was make Jason Jordan Kurt Angle's son because he's black, and Kurt Angle happened to go out with a couple of black girls in college.
And wanted to have bestiality sex with Charmel.
And did, apparently.
Yeah.
But again, it's this thing of, like, if Chad Gable did not get the Shorty G gimmick or the Alpha America Shoosh gimmick, we would have gotten this sooner. Actually, in hindsight, the Shoosh thing was fine because it led to this.
Yeah, but it was still super annoying at first, to where people didn't really care. And it's only once they stopped doing a lot of the shoosh that they've really started getting somewhere with this angle. But then they get to the angle part of the matchup where, you know, Maxine's supposed to hit him and doesn't. And then Chad goes over and starts yelling at her, and Otis goes, "Hey, I'm big, and stop that." And
Stop bullying this girl with her oiled up boobies.
yeah.
Why was her chest like? I've never seen so much oil in my life.
You
No, Randy Orton has been more oiled up before.
No, he has not. I disagree. No human being has ever had more oil put in one spot than Maxine's fucking chest in this match. You could like flip eggs on her chest with the amount of oil that was on there and set your house on fire.
Well, we didn't, though. We could have, but we didn't. But but then we got of course, when this is all going on and Otis steps in the way, and then he kind of like gets to the side, and then Sammy does the chop block to Chad, who does the chop block to Maxine, and she goes down.
That was such a perfect spot, because he had Sammy in the ankle lock, and Sammy rolls through, and he chop blocks the shit out of Maxine.
Yes, he does.
And although I will say, Maxine really needs to work on her selling, but it was fine. She's not good at this.
Yeah.
But it was perfectly fine, because the look of what the fuck just happened on both Chad and Otis's face, and then the slow, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
Please don't be mad.
And then the decision, is he gonna hit Chad and finally, you know, put up with it, or is he gonna look after Maxine, or, you know, is he gonna hurt Sammy? And he decides to take Maxine and leave because he likes bad blonde female wrestlers, which is canon for Otis.
Basically.
So, you know, him taking Maxine and leaving was probably best case scenario for what this angle is turning into.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the right move. Now, Chad just being taken with that and just lining up just to happen to be in the right spot for the haluva kick thereafter, a little cheesy to do it that way, personally.
Yeah.
But Sammy still got the win, which I think had to happen, because I think their angle is they're working on Otis striking Chad, and that's their next big pop with that. And they don't want to do that with the Intercontinental Championship off of Sammy's hands yet. Because I think that feud kind of sells itself without the belt, but you can make the case that the belt would help it. But at the same time, I don't want to see Otis with the Intercontinental Championship. I don't. Because if Chad and Otis get into this feud, then Otis is eventually going to have to beat Chad. And I don't want that to be an Intercontinental title match. I think that's fine just being a feud. But please tell me, because I didn't hate this finish at all. I thought the match was good. I thought the finish was fine for what they're going to do with Chad. I think the bigger story is that Chad still can't do it and has outs in all of his plans being foiled. And I think we're going to get something deeper with what's going on with the implosion of the Alpha Academy. And Sammy can still have a match of his own for the Intercontinental belt for someone else that we can get into discussion with. But I'm interested to hear why both of you did not like this finish. Let's start with JoshAgeddon.
Okay, well, everything you just said makes sense, and I'm cool with it. But back to what Skyler said, where Chad Gable is only just now being taken seriously and was treated like a joke for years. My thing is, like, again, if Chad had been taken seriously for longer and he's actually won like titles in the past and now they're doing this, I'm sick and tired of seeing this fucker lose.
I get that.
He lost.
I get it.
He lost to Gunther. He didn't get the WrestleMania match. He lost to Sammy. He lost at King and Queen of the Ring. And he loses again. And I'm just like, God damn it. I want this dude to win. A lot of this might just me being impatient, but I just feel bad for Chad. That rhymed. I just feel bad for the guy, like both in kayfabe, even though in kayfabe he's a dick, but the real life guy, because this dude deserves more than what he's had throughout his career.
I agree with that.
And seeing him get pinned again just makes me go, fuck. Like, literally, as soon as Sammy hit the haluva kick, I was like, damn it. And then when he got the 3, I just shouted, fuck. Because, like, I'm sick and tired of seeing this dude lose. I get that the story is working, and you could be right that they don't necessarily need the title for Chad and Otis, but it just hurts me to see my boy lose like this all the time.
I understand. I do understand. Absolutely. And I do think that Chad is eventually going to get his. I think they very much believe in him, as evidenced by the fact that what he's doing without the title is getting over.
And he just re-signed to a brand new deal, the other day.
I'm paying him a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Chad get his. But I agree. Patience sucks. But at least we know. But at least.
That is the best quote. Patience sucks.
It does. But at least we know we can trust this version of the company to at least have a batting average to where they might do the right thing. Mm-hmm. WrestleMania 40 has rehabbed that belief in the process enough to know that I'm sure they're gonna give Chad his. It's just, maybe he's meant for something bigger than the Intercontinental Championship when that time comes. We'll have to see.
Well, here's my thing. My issue with this was not the concept of Chad Gable losing. My issue was the fact that they had the referee look like a complete klutz. Listen, you have 2 people on the outside, and Chad Gable is obviously distracting you for long periods of time so he can get his people to hit them. And when Chad is talking to his people, the referee's like, what's going on here? I'm just watching Chad yell at his students. I wonder why. Why does she have the belt in her hands?
Good point. I would say that if they weren't going to do what they were about to do in the next match, that might have been more of an issue. But because
But I just wish they didn't make the referee look stupid.
Yeah, and they did it multiple times, which also didn't help.
Yeah. Yep. Also valid.
But in all honesty, we've seen, again, not to bring up the whole AEW comparisons and the previous regime comparisons, but it didn't bother me too much. It was noticeable where I'm just like, okay, ref, he's literally pointing at Maxine behind your back, just turn around. But it didn't take me out of it, but it was a little noticeable.
Yeah, I think those are both valid criticisms. That's the kind of to each his own kind of deal that we've got going on here. And as we like to mention a lot of the times, we're never going to be a podcast where we all have to have the same takes about what we like and what we dislike. And
except for one thing, and that is the best music in the world made by 2 industry-busting artists.
Well, you've made it when you don't even need to set up your own plugs. Folks, we've got some tremendous things going on in AB Productions CT, namely that the debut of a new artist in our mixed and in the fold, and that is me as me, not White Knux, but in fact, Sean McCarty, as I'm going to be releasing a piano album called Carte Blanche, coming up in December, ideally. It's a fun little concept album that I started in February and I've been working on. It's the 12-track album, And each track is going to be up a half step incrementally, musically speaking. It's been a fun project that I've been working on, and I'm very excited to bring it to each and every one of you. And we've also got tons of discography from the White Knux collection and Abizzle, two industry-busting artists, as Skyler said, looking to take the world by storm. We bend genres, we bend air, we blow a lot of air, but that's all we're blowing because we don't blow.
They bend me over.
But that's not on the tape. But you can definitely, but there's a lot of other stuff that does happen on those tapes. And it's not just on Spotify. It's not just on Apple Music. It's not just on iHeartRadio, but it is also on SoundCloud, where you can also see many, 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 many other tracks that we cannot monetize for one reason or another, but there is some sagas in there, including the mixtapes that we started with when we were just wee lads. Our very first material that we released in 2017 and 2018, namely Emeralds and Gems and Small Town Flow, were my first ones, and Bumping Out the Hospital and Black Horse in Abizzle's camp. And we've got a lot of music that we brought up, over 100 monetized tracks on all the streaming platforms, including YouTube. And don't forget to look at Abizzle OG, the YouTube channel, where there's a lot of fun things coming up, and also the White Knux OG channel, which is coming up with some very fun stuff that somebody here happens to edit beautifully.
Indeed.
So, folks, there's a lot of things going on in the multimedia empires that is TAW Gaming and White Knux and Abizzle and AB Production CT. There is a big balloon, and this one ain't gonna pop, because this is not gonna form a weird top hat and take a bubble taxi out of here. But this plug certainly is. So, editor, hit those bubbles and go, whoa! And let's move on.
Speaking of plugs, I have my own plug that I want to do right now. I just started a brand new spin-off podcast called Post Tap, because my regular podcast is the TAP. This side podcast, Post Tap, is predominantly on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I have 2 episodes up right now. The first one is actually on my YouTube channel because I wanted to spread the word. The second episode, like the last 45 minutes, is on YouTube, but the whole thing is on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and a couple other platforms that I can't remember the name of right now, but they exist. So go listen to Post Tap on your favorite podcasting platforms.
Skyler, you got anything to plug?
No, not really.
What about your anus?
No, I just want to plug your guys' stuff because you guys work so hard, you do so hard, you deserve followers and mentions and money and all that stuff.
Yes.
We all do.
Money.
We all
That's
deserve all of those things.
I'm just a guest on this show. I don't have anything to plug. I'm not trying to push my own agenda or merch or whatever, other than the fact that other than the fact that 9/11 was an inside job. Thank you.
Says the Jew.
No, I can't. I don't believe in that theory.
There's always a zinger with Skyler somewhere. And see, that's the thing, Skyler, you set us up so beautifully. Like, I'm just a regular casual person. There's nothing to see here. 9/11 was an inside job. And, I'm just a good guy. And, it's all just good times here.
That
was a great setup.
That took such a downward turn.
What a commitment. Oh, that was so good.
That went places.
Oh, man. I just love the reel in and then the uppercut. It's just terrific. I love it. I love it.
I just cracked myself open a Mountain Dew. It almost came out of my nose.
That would have hurt. That would have hurt. But
your first mistake was trying to do anything while I'm in the building, potentially making stuff come out of your nose.
Which building? The South Tower or the North Tower?
Oh, son of a bitch. We move on to our fourth match. And we move on to our fourth match. Bayley defending her belt, whichever women's championship this one is.
It's just a regular women's championship. There's no world in front of it.
It also has the word undisputed on it, which, again, there's 2 women.
It's very much in dispute.
It is very much in dispute.
They've made a theme of disputing said belts. But it is Bayley versus Piper Niven with Chelsea Green and Ninja Chelsea. We'll get to that later.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Chelsea.
Yeah, literally. Chelsea Tello, Chelsea Nardo.
Dewdropatello.
Chelsea Angelo. Yeah.
No.
Well, that aside, this matchup. What did you think of this matchup? We'll start with JoshAgeddon.
I thought this was good. It did not have the heat that you would expect for like a hometown girl to have, but that's because Piper Niven, as much as I love Piper Niven, she's had so much damage done to her booking-wise by this fucking company in the previous regime. It's very difficult to take her seriously. The dewdrop thing ruined her, and she's still trying to scrub the ick of that off of her.
Yep.
But it's going to take some time. But this was still a good match, and honestly, like, it wasn't great, but it was good. But honestly, it was the best match I think Piper has had on the main roster.
Skyler?
This match suffered a lot from a very thrown together thing of, okay, we're just going to have these two fight because we want Piper to have a match at her hometown. It's tough because Bayley is a good wrestler, but she needs a compelling story in order to have great matches. And there was no compelling story here.
Well, part of it is you two did a great job in booking Piper Niven. Combined between the two of you, you made her to be a fearsome monster that was a destroyer of worlds. The thing about Piper Niven, in actuality, she's very sweet-spoken. Even when she's saying, "You don't know what I'm capable of," you kind of just want to hug her. It's like it's just the way that she speaks, and her matches are just okay. I've seen Bayley and Nia Jax actually have a good match, and I'm more looking forward
But that's kind of the issue, is that Piper Niven cannot be the big girl heel in a company that also has Nia Jax in it.
who they're actively using as that position in a title capacity in just a couple months' time.
And again, this weird alternate reality that we're now living in where none of us actually hate that.
I know. Our timeline.
Again, it helps that Nia Jax has gotten better and she's being booked to be what she should be. And that's kind of the issue with Piper Niven. And I hope that, they address it and maybe, turn her babyface. I know the Chelsea Green thing is whatever. We are long past Chelsea Green being... Has anyone ever asked, I can't wait to see that Chelsea Green match? Or I can't wait to see that Chelsea Green promo. I can't wait to see what Chelsea Green does on the next little bit, right?
Dude, Wade Barrett literally buried Chelsea Green. She was like, he said on commentary, I don't even know why Piper Niven still hangs out with her. I get that they were tag team champions, but she's holding Piper back. Wade Barrett said that on commentary.
Well, as I mentioned before, Chelsea Green is both Iconics as one person.
Basically.
And it just doesn't... I don't even hate Chelsea Green being that annoying valet who gets kicked out of shit. That's fine. I don't mind having that.
She's good as a jobber, like a squash jobber.
Yeah, or just as a valet who squawks all the time and gets thrown out. Fine. There's place in wrestling for that. I'm not going to say there isn't. That's been a valid point and a valid way for women to make money in wrestling for some time. And the thing is, I don't think that Piper benefits from Chelsea, and I don't think Chelsea benefits from Piper either. It still feels very just randomly thrown together. Yeah, I really.
Well, that's the thing. It was randomly thrown together because Sonya Deville tore her ACL when she and Chelsea Green were supposed to be tag team champions.
And Piper literally strolled in, grabbed the championship, and was like, "I'm your partner now. Let's go."
And that was it.
And then they developed their own dynamic of Piper just beating up people and Chelsea Green just slacking behind her. And then Chelsea, the whole thing at the Rumble where Chelsea Green got beat up and Piper Niven had to save her.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It isn't landing for me. And I I just don't see anything special in Piper Niven. I'm sorry. I don't. And I want to, but I saw that match that she had with Becky, and I know that was a different time, but that was blah. And this match here was kind of blah. And
she was great in the Mae Young Classic, but she, again, like I said, the whole Dewdrop thing just removed everything that she had that was great during the Mae Young Classic, and she's still trying to recover from that.
well, and it also
Well, the thing is that the Mae Young Classic was 7 years ago.
There's also that.
yeah. Well, and it also doesn't help that like there were exactly 0 people who believed that Piper Niven was going to beat Bayley.
There's also that.
It's like,
Even Scotland knew that.
even Scotland knew that, and they tried to get behind Piper, but deep down they all knew there was not a chance that Piper Niven was winning this match. And they didn't really make that. They didn't really get the contrary across of she was a threat. I don't think. Maybe a threat to Bayley's overall health, but the.
I mean, Piper is one of those wrestlers who does wrestle a stiffer style just because of the way that she physically imposes her will on people.
Well, so does Nia, but I think it's part of the presentation. I mean, Chelsea Green gets kicked out by Charles Robinson. Great.
Honestly, Charles Robinson was my favorite person in the entire match, not gonna lie. He was hilarious.
He's always hilarious. I love Charles Robinson. He's such a good guy.
Dude, we're skipping ahead a teeny bit, but when she came back, I loved when she had the stupid luchador mask on, and Charles was like, "Everyone here knows who you are. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's the gotta love Little Nate. He's still out here being a personality, so I give him credit for that. I will say the Cannonball definitely was good and safer than Nia's.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get that suplex into the ring.
Once again, we are targeting the spine and the neck on this show a lot.
That was one of those clunk suplexes where basically Bayley landed on her tailbone and then the rest of her body laid back, onto the mat. And it looked like it hurt.
The look on her face when she landed, I was like, oh.
Ow. And I
not
hope that's
a good
not
day
the lower back that Nia squashes.
Yeah. Like, who would you say was to blame for that? Like, I don't think it was Piper's fault. I don't even think it was Bayley's fault. It was just one of those things where it's kind of just an accident.
I don't
Gravity.
know.
Gravity.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't even know if there is anyone to blame for that. I mean, that's one of those ones that it just shit happens. But
I mean, the thing is that it's wrestling. It's not ballet.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Bayley.
So it's gonna
Bayley
hurt. It's just that some things are gonna hurt more than others.
Yeah. Well, Bayley was selling her back, and I was like, man, I really hope she's selling and she's not actually got her lower back hurt. But anyway, they do they do this thing, and I don't know why they do this with Piper matches. They did it with the Becky match too, where Piper is leaning over 2 of the ropes, and Bayley tries to do, what is it, a DDT or something like that, or she just like a face
She
plant?
likes to do a twist of fate in the ropes.
Yeah.
But when she does it, she like jams their throat in the ropes.
Yeah.
I was impressed that she dove and caught Piper's head with the cutter. That was impressive. But it just didn't look like it did anything.
Well,
like, oh, wow, you made her lean into the ropes with her stomach more than she already was.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think her head hit the mat at all.
That did not look good.
No, it was... And
It was kind of like a mini stun gunner.
And those...
But her throat didn't go into the ropes. It was just more of her Okay, if Piper was smaller, I would be like, all right, maybe the ropes hurt her stomach. It's Piper Niven, though. The ropes did not hurt her stomach. She had enough protection from that. It just looked like a very useless maneuver.
Yeah, those rope hanging...
I mean, speaking of useless maneuver, talk about that top rope. Do I call it a senton that Bayley did on Piper's back?
It sounded like a gunshot went off when Bayley landed on the mat. It looked like she hurt herself more than Piper with that senton.
Yeah.
But the elbow looked great.
The elbow did look great. And then here comes Nacho Green. And Charles Robinson, like you said, was like, dude, stop.
Chelsea Libre.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then this, the match was okay. Then we got the Bayley to belly off the top. And then that, that was a 2 count, which was nice. The Piper driver, which was another 2 count.
Dude, that Michinoku driver was sick.
Yes.
Piper driver.
It was still sick looking, though.
That's her finisher.
Well,
She hasn't ever used, she's never really used that as her finisher in WWE outside of the Mae Young Classic. So
And house shows.
It didn't really register as a finisher. It just registered as.
Because we don't see her win on TV.
Yeah.
Again, this is the issue with Piper Niven. They don't book her well. They need to give her wins on TV so that she actually feels like a threat, and she doesn't.
Yeah.
well, I would argue it's not just that's holding Piper back, but there's a lot to say about that. But then we get the Black Hole Slam, and Corey Graves very sneakily throws Abyss's name out of there, which I thought was very nice.
I like that.
But that was very nice.
Black Hole Slam, Folger Clan.
And then we get the finish of this, which I thought this was a fine finish.
I thought it was kind of random, but upon further reflection, I was like, well, I'll take a crucifix driver over the rose plant.
Yes, because that move is dumb.
Honestly, Bayley, can you use the crucifix driver as your finisher from now on instead of the rose plant, or just?
Have you noticed that she wasn't able to hit it at all this match?
Well, yeah, because she kept getting it countered, and also that move just sucks ass.
But again, at France, she didn't use the rose plant to win either. She used the crucifix thing.
Honestly, it might be because that move is so shit. Maybe the foreign crowds wouldn't even recognize that as, oh, that's her finish.
Yeah, and what does Bayley have to do with roses anyway? That's a genuine question. Is she known to be a known Rosarian?
He had one half of her scalp painted red like a rose, so maybe that.
Okay, do you want the real answer?
Rose Bowl, Pasadena?
So Bailey's middle name is Rose.
Oh.
Oh.
That's lame.
That doesn't help.
That's super lame.
And again, her indie wrestling name was Davina Rose.
That's okay. That makes it slightly less lame. Slightly.
The move still looks like shit though.
But
if it's not Io Sky that's taking it, it does not look good.
Yeah, this match was what it was. I don't really have much else to say about it. It was fine. It was fine. But I just don't. The big thing I'm taking away from this is that I don't know. I don't think Bayley's gonna make it past SummerSlam with this belt.
I don't know either.
Nor should
absolutely not. She's losing to Nia Jax.
He's absolutely losing to Nia Jax.
And two, I just don't see it in Piper Niven. Maybe they'll change my mind. Hey, they changed my mind about Otis. Change my mind, WWE, but I don't see it in Piper Niven.
I do. I just don't know if we'll ever get back to what she was or could have been because, again, many years wasted.
It feels like there are too many reclamation projects that Triple H cannot fix. For every Chad Gable, there's going to be a Piper Niven.
Yeah, he can't rehab everyone.
Not all at once. So maybe that's a back burner project.
And again, I do feel like if you're going to get the Piper Niven to be successful, you got to have her be a babyface.
And you got to unglue Chelsea Green from her backside.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, get that Lucha Monkey Chelsea Green off her back.
Yeah, nobody likes Lucha Monkeys. AEW.
Or better yet, hire Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I thought he was re-signed. What happened with that?
He tore his ACL. And he's out for the rest of the year.
Oh.
What the? Can people stop blowing out their fucking knees this year?
Well, maybe this is the reckoning that wrestling needs, where it's an ACL fest. Because everybody's working so crazy and they need to calm down and slow it down and bring you to the main event of the evening.
Yes.
Drew
Indeed,
McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship.
The somewhat disputed World Heavyweight Championship.
The maybe disputed, it's hard to tell, championship. We get the entrance for Drew McIntyre, which was fantastic. Good vignette package, by the way. We got a little hint of Broken Dreams in it, which was nice.
That made me so happy. I am a huge mark for Broken Dreams. And it was so perfectly placed for what happened to Drew at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and it's going to be even more when they get to the Drew and Punk feud, when we finally get to that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going
hold on. The feud's been happening for literally 6 months, and they haven't touched each other yet.
I know. It's been great. It's been a great slow burn. It's not a year of dealing with Jericho and the 5 labors. That man's so wide, he looks like he's been through 5 labors. Anyway.
I will say, this match was my favorite thing on the entire show. This was my favorite match.
Yeah, but I really wish they would have toned down the decibels counter.
Okay, that made me laugh so hard.
They
that
got
was
a little
so
overzealous with that, I think. They were a little trigger happy making sure that was apparent.
It was like them winking at the camera. Our crowd is very loud. Isn't that cool, guys? Listen to how loud our fans can be.
They did that instead of giving us attendance numbers.
Yeah.
Did you need an attendance number for the show?
No, I don't care.
Do you have it, Skyler?
Do I have to do it?
Yeah. Okay. Now that you've asked, yes.
Now that you've asked, yes. Now do the work.
Fine. 11,391 people at the OVO Hydro.
That is a lot of Scots.
Could you say that number again?
11,391.
Okay. All I heard the first time was 391. I was like, that's a loud 391 people.
I didn't know that this was an AEW show.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's the competition. And,
they think they're competition.
But then here's where I have to give credit to Sam Irvin. She did something very smart here, and I give her a lot of credit for having the awareness to do it. They're going through the chant. She goes, the following contest is scheduled for one fall, introducing first. And then she pauses and lets the crowd finish the chant. And then gets back into it. And that was really smart. And not all ring announcers would have the awareness to give that moment the time for it to be that moment.
I will say, I did not have an issue with Sam Irvin the entire night.
Me
she
either.
Toned it down.
Yeah.
Which is all I've been fucking asking for. Literally, I don't need to hear her give birth every time she announces someone going into the ring. She was.
Well, that's the thing, is that Roman Reigns is not here.
That's the one thing.
That's true.
I can't wait for Roman to come back.
That's true. You can't dispute.
You know, when he comes back, she's gonna put the stink on that name.
Yeah. That's she is to Roman Reigns what Kevin Owens was to Hamwich.
Or what
Kevin Owens.
Oh!
or Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
And then we get referee wait for the bell. As they were staring at each other, and this poor guy's like, wait for the bell. Wait for the bell.
Dude, I popped so hard. Okay, the intense glare between Drew and Damian was great. And when Damian turned away from Drew when they were announcing his name and he held up the belt, Drew going fuck you and stepping in between Damian and the camera to continue the stare down, and the crowd popping for that.
Yeah,
that was nice. Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Drew is so goddamn good.
He's doing the best work of his career by far in 2024. Without a doubt. He's got.
I mean, that Colonial attack was so intense.
That was lovely.
That was also very good. And I really liked Drew's very tight clotheslines.
Mm-hmm.
The flatliner was nice. Nice to see. I like that move. One of my favorites. Then we get a classic Michael Cole botch.
Oh no. the aftershock DDT. God damn it, Michael Cole. Dude. Can you please? I'm begging you, Michael Cole.
Oh man, that was too good. I'm like, oh, we were so close without having Cole make any major mistake of note. We were so close.
That's literally been one of his main moves for like over a decade now.
At least that one isn't as overt as like it being a back suplex and he calls it like a neck breaker. Or calling a table a chair. Like, this one was 2/3 of the way correct.
Dude, Sean, you would have loved Raw a couple weeks ago. Michael Cole had a terrible night. There was a tag match that involved Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee gets tagged, and for 15 seconds, Michael Cole is convinced that it's Rey Mysterio.
That's pretty good.
And then
they're both luchadors, and they both wear masks. It's hard to tell the difference.
And then later, he's running down the card for Clash, and he's like, and one of the matches is Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match for the WWE title. The only way to win is to make sure your opponent cannot answer the referee's count of 10. And everyone's like, that's not an I Quit match, Cole.
Oh, that's too good.
He had a rough night, that Raw.
Well, speaking of rough nights...
Speaking of rough nights, Damian Priest is on the outside, and Drew McIntyre landed every single bit of his dive.
He landed directly, like he nearly decapitated Damian Priest.
Yeah. On
that dive.
Well, I think it was like, you know how we complain about Charlotte missing her moonsault too much? I think Drew McIntyre got too much of Priest.
He hits it too much.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're going to do it, lay it in.
And speaking of laying in, those spine busters that Drew does.
Yes.
Pretty.
That spine buster was business.
Very pretty.
That dive to the outside was kind of wince-inducing, and Damian Priest was like, oh, I'll show you a dive that'll make you wince.
Yeah. So Priest goes to do that weird, like where you catch your foot on one of the ropes and then it's supposed to like flip you and do like another rotation. I don't know. I've seen
Chopa Suicida.
Yeah, but not really. It's like you jump, but then you land your foot on the top rope, and you're supposed to get an extra spin on it. Ricochet does it, and it was like 2/3 of the match between Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. That was most of their match, but in this case, it didn't quite work out that way because Damian Priest happens to have a rather large foot, and. So his foot gets caught between the ropes, and the ropes twist up, and it looked like he almost lost that foot.
I don't know how this man did not tear his groin. I don't know how he still has both legs.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. When I saw this like live, this was the last thing I saw before I went to work. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. As did everyone in Glasgow, they were like, "Ooh!"
Yeah, that was so nasty.
And props to Drew for immediately kicking him in the head.
Yeah. Drew had a brief moment of, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Wait,
no, fuck
hold
him.
on, we're wrestling. Fuck! Boom! Boom! Boom!
But then Drew has to wait.
And then he had to keep reassuring the crowd. He was like, the crowd was like, "Yeah, fuck him up," and he was like, "Wait. I can't win the title like this. I have to get him back in the ring."
Yeah, and so they somewhat had some level of justification to flip back around. And Skyler, you were talking about how mad Jade was. Damian Priest.
Clothesline.
He was in pain, but he was hot.
He nearly decapitated Drew McIntyre with this lariat.
Yeah, he did.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And even the announcers were like, I guess he can plant his foot after all.
I mean, the thing was that Damian Priest was so mad when
Oh.
He got flipped over and looked like an idiot.
Oh. But you know, from every pot of soil can bear a pretty flower, because it turned out that actually really helped the match and how the whole tone of it went, because he never really could get long-standing weight on that foot. Whether that was expert selling or he was actually in pain, probably both.
I mean, if we had known our luck, he would have torn his hamstring or ACL right there.
I thought he had. That's why I thought, well, shit, maybe Drew might actually win this now. Thinking that maybe they'll call an audible, but, you know, I will say, having that uncertainty helped the match a lot.
And it also helped this whole idea of, like, especially considering the finish where Punk basically won the match for Damian. The whole thing was, and even Damian was like, hey, I wrestled this match on one leg. Because the whole thing they're trying to do here is, even though he's still in the Judgment Day and he had them help him win against Jey Uso at Backlash, he didn't want their help, and he's trying to prove that he can do it by himself. What a better way to do that than to have him almost break his fucking leg mid-match and still wrestle?
They really are trying to build up Damian Priest for that eventual babyface turn when the Judgment Day cost him the world title.
Which I think at this point, I mean, people do get behind him. I think it was just the circumstances. I think, I mean, obviously he was never going to get cheered or booed. Or he was going to get booed, but he was never going to get cheered or any reaction of major consequence given the way that this night went. Because it was all about...
But you have to give him respect, and that's the biggest thing, is that you give him respect for working through the match despite almost breaking his leg.
They went another 15 minutes after that happened.
Dude,
you know,
the one-legged Razor's Edge was so impressive.
That was really impressive. And it was gutsy. And what a, you know, that was really nice. They did the Claymore into the barricade spot.
And Damian's head bounced off a chair.
Yeah. God.
Poor Damian. He got beat up in this match.
Yeah, he did. But it worked. It honestly worked. The South of Heaven false finish was really good. The Claymore false finish. But you could tell at that point, Damian Priest's leg was really starting to bother him.
How in the fuck did he do that Hurricane Rana, though?
I don't know how he did most of this match, given the circumstances. I really have a newfound respect for Damian Priest after what he went through in this match.
Me too. Like, holy...
I mean, again, it's the whole thing of, like, some guys are elevated when they get the world championship because they have to prove that they deserve the world title. And Damian Priest was going to work his ass off because people were doubting him, especially at the end of 23 and early 24. We were too.
Yeah.
Because we were like, is he going to get it if he eventually gets the world title? And sure enough, he's getting it, and he's doing everything that was promised.
Well,
he's doing his absolute damnedest.
And the ultimate irony is they kind of lucked into this one. Him fucking up is what ended up getting this match to be as good as it ended up being.
Now,
not that Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre wouldn't have had a good match without the botch, but they did an incredible job to tell the story.
They would have, but I also think that it wouldn't have garnered nearly as much sympathy for Damian Priest as him having one leg under the circumstances did.
Unless we find out that Damian is so injured that he has to relinquish the title, which I hope is not the case. This is probably beneficial injuries.
I'll tell you what happened on Raw afterwards.
I'm afraid by the way you say that.
That makes me think
Damian
he is
Priest,
too hurt and does have to relinquish the title.
No.
Again, I will tell you guys what happened on Raw. But continue with this match.
Well, and anyway, and then there's a ref bump.
And Joshua, don't check to see what happened on Raw. I'm going to tell you.
How did you know that I was doing that?
Yeah.
How did you know that's exactly what I was doing?
You're going to get the blind reaction when I tell you, okay?
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
let's continue, Sean.
You know me way too well.
Yeah, well, and anyway, so then there's a ref bump.
I could hear in the background you going to click on your keyboard. What happened on Raw?
Yeah, well, and the referee does his bump. And
it was a spectacular bump.
It was a spectacular bump. I thought that
I love that they faked out the ref bump first and then did it.
Yeah, he was already selling his leg before he actually got hurt, which I thought was really nice. Like, it was like, good for you, ref. You get in there and you sell your ass off. And I will have to say, then, despite the fact that we all knew this was coming, this was an A-grade chef kiss way to do it.
Agreed. The execution of this
Glorious.
was a 100 out of 10.
Yeah, actually glorious. So they have the shot, the referee's down, Drew hits the Claymore, goes for a cover, no referee. The fans are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. You hear the pop of another referee coming down for the count. And the camera angle, this is props to Lee Fitting for this one. The camera angle is at a perfect spot where the referee's going to slide in. He's going to slide in from the bottom left part of the camera to get into the frame to make the count to see the shoulders. 1, 2, and I mean, as soon as you see the slicked hair, you know what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
the other thing, too, is that they had a wide shot of the referee coming, and they didn't do the normal thing of looking directly at the referee, but they did the wide shot so that way you could see a referee coming, but you didn't know who it was until they do the reveal.
Yeah, 1, 2, and then the referee stops, and it's
And
CM
all
Punk.
of Scotland, the realization sets in.
Oh, we're so good.
And Drew and Scotland were both like,
I've never heard that many collective jaws drop at once.
But my favorite part of this, when they cut back to Punk, did you recognize the pose he was striking?
Yeah.
He was doing the meme, like where you're doing the peace sign next to the grave that Drew did a Photoshop of with his WrestleMania main event that he made into a t-shirt.
Yep.
That's the pose that Punk was doing because he counted 2.
Yep.
Fuck, this was awesome.
It was so good. And then Drew pulls Punk into the corner. And gentlemen, it is all about sending a message.
He hooked this motherfucker in the nads.
Because sometimes you have to kick a man in the balls to send a message. And message sent.
Yeah.
Message.
And that message was delivered to Scotland.
Yes, it was. Because then the
CM Punk proceeded to find the 3 fans next to ringside that were wearing CM Punk shirts and would hug him and cheer him, while the rest of Scotland looked at him like they had committed murder.
Yeah. And in many ways, I think they did, because the referee rolls in, Damian Priest, who's still on one leg, is up, Drew gets up, South of Heaven, cover, not this way, damn it. Damian Priest is still your champion, but you still felt pretty solid about his effort, so it wasn't like he couldn't do it without help again. I was like, well, yeah, but he gave it a hell of a fight otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, so I really liked that dimension. It added a dimension to the match that I didn't realize it needed until it had it.
And the perfect explanation point on this whole thing, Wade Barrett goes into a ballistic tirade.
Off.
He goes off. He's like, if WWE has any balls, they'll fire CM Punk. And I was like, you tell him, Wade Barrett. What? Wade Barrett is quickly becoming one of my favorite commentators in WWE. He was on fire.
Because, again, he's a friend of Drew McIntyre, and as a fellow UK wrestler and supporting Drew, again, it's pushing the narrative that CM Punk truly bends the rules for whatever he does.
Mm-hmm.
And is somehow allowed to do it.
Oh, this was glorious.
Yeah,
because we all like CM Punk. And that's the thing, is that they're creating the thing of, like, Drew McIntyre is going to get cheered by the UK crowds versus CM Punk, who's going to get cheered by the American crowds.
Basically. And he brings in a lot of money.
You can't dispute
Now,
that.
do you want your spoiler for what happens with Damian Priest?
I already got it. I looked it up while you were yelling at
So,
Josh.
okay, so I'm not allowed to look it up, but Sean, big boy Sean over here is like, I'm going to do it while Skyler's screaming at Joshua.
While you two were distracted, I just figured it all out. So we'll save that. We got ratings.
While we were distracted, you were like, Chelsea, hit him with the belt.
We got ratings. Well, I go get
so Sean put on a lucha mask, came out with a tank top and a skirt.
We had the same idea. That's right. As Lucha Sean was coming out to distract Charles Robinson.
Well. But no, on Raw, which is happening on June 17th, they were recording this, Seth Rollins comes out perfectly healthy, in addition of what the fuck is Seth Rollins wearing, looking like a white gangster. I mean that literally. And he says, you know what? I want to enter Money in the Bank. And Damian Priest comes out and says, forget Money in the Bank. Let's wrestle at Money in the Bank. And Seth Rollins says yes. So it's Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank.
I'm down.
And that way you could either, and even if Rollins wins that means Rollins is going up against Gunther, but I kind of doubt Seth is going to win it this time. Honestly.
He doesn't need to. It's just another person for Damian Priest to have on his ledger.
He doesn't need to, and I'm honestly a little disappointed that Seth is back this early. I won't lie to you.
Oh, I'm fine with it because, like, the reasoning for, like, because Seth lost the title at WrestleMania, a lot of it has to do with the fact that he got the shit beaten out of him the night before he lost the title, and he was basically like, I'm literally just here to take bullets for Cody Rhodes, the match, the TV show, the movie. So his reasoning for, like, yeah, that title's mine. I was the first champion. I made that belt relevant. I want it back. Give it to me, Drew. Damian, whatever.
And if you really want to go deep into the lore, the first time those two wrestled each other was at a Raw in Hartford. The Raw that I was totally not a seat filler for.
Yeah.
And that match they had was a pretty darn good match they had to main event that night. And in that main event, Seth Rollins shook the hand of Damian Priest. Damian Priest actually came back and shook Seth's hand. So they've already established the mutual respect between the two of them. So that also helps Damian Priest's case along for the direction that I think they're trying to take him. So,
well, okay, with that spoiler, Skyler, I'm so happy that Damian Priest is not, like, horribly injured and has to. I was really worried about him having.
Me too.
Belt.
I mean, given the history with the issues and the whole thing of, like, the ropes not dealing well, we already saw the Jade Cargill thing, and the way it looks, it's just pure luck.
Yeah.
They
literally stumbled upon that one, but they'll take it. And speaking of taking, we need to take off and get the hell out of here. So let's get to ratings.
All righty.
Let's start with Skyler.
Well, this was a very good PLE.
Fuck you.
Joshua. But again, it's the thing of, like, we have to readjust the scale. And under Triple H's regime, he hasn't had a bad show yet. However, this is going to be a little bit lower only because while it was a good show, there wasn't anything exceptional. Like, I could make the argument for Gunther versus Randy Orton being a match of the year contender. Same thing with Cody versus AJ at France, because those were both legitimate match of the year contenders. I don't have that here on this show. And while there was a very good angle and moment with CM Punk, it's building to something, but we're not there yet. But again, 5-match show, no complaints about a 5-match show that went 3 hours. So 6.5.
JoshAgeddon.
I also enjoyed this show. I did not really care for the women's tag, and I was saddened by the result of the Intercontinental title match. But the I Quit match was not only very good, but it was perfectly placed on the card of the show. The women's title match was good. The main event I thought was awesome, and I love the angle that they ended it with. But again, it did feel like a B show. The crowd helped a lot. I'm going to go a little bit higher than Skyler, and I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Well, this is, funnily enough, it turns out that I actually ended up being on the high end of this one. I mean, as Skyler mentioned, the scale is adjusted. So I've been trying not to be, like, hypercritical. There are certain things that I would, do differently myself, as in, make Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles the co-main event rather than, the curtain jerker. But that's just my preferences. But am I going to, like, take points away because they have a different philosophy on that than I do? No. Well, I know they listen to the show, so they'll just change it. But the truth is, when you get a show like this, there's always the chance of one match to be kind of a stinker, and I don't think any of them are really stinkers. I think on average the show matches are better in quality, and I mean it is just 5 matches. It's a lot more palatable to digest when they're like this. And so I gave this a 7.5 because I thought that Drew and Priest was great. You know, this wasn't one of those shows where definitive things were going to happen. It's a build show. But for a build show, I think they kept moving things along about as well as you could have. I think the angle between Punk and Drew, best case scenario for that, I think is what they've done here. And they lucked into the injury part of it, but it worked. So, you know, sometimes you got to just take what you got. You know, I thought that was very good. Bailey and Piper, I mean, fine. Fine. That was maybe my least favorite thing on the show, actually, was Bailey and Piper. I thought that the triple threat tag was not as bad. I was just confused at the ending. I just didn't really care that much. But Sammy and Chad, well, you guys both didn't like the finish of that. I loved that match. So those two were really good. And the main event. But AJ and Cody Rhodes for the world title was terrific as well. They had 3 out of 5 really good matches on this show. That's a pretty solid batting average. And the other 2 matches were not bad by any means. They were just not as good. And that's fine. But for a B show, the match quality was good and everything went in the direction that it needed to go for what the overall arcs for everybody involved were going to be. So I don't really have any major complaints about the show as a whole, except for like little nitpicks and my own personal preferences. You know, and that's something to be happy about. Wasn't a perfect show, but I'd say you got 3/4 of the way there to a perfect show, and that's pretty solid.
Agreed. This wasn't the best.
Wait, what was your number?
It was a perfectly
7.5.
solid. It was a perfectly solid B show.
Totally.
The thing with WWE now is that we no longer have the structural issue of this structurally is wrong.
Yeah, Kevin
we
Dunn
have
fucking
preferential
up.
stuff and nitpicks, but there's nothing wrong with the foundation that they have set.
Not beyond just constant milking all the time, which there's just no fighting.
One thing I did notice on this show that there was none of. Did you guys notice this? What there was none of on this show?
There was minimal Triple H ejaculation.
Exactly.
They
That
saved
was very,
that-
very minimal.
They saved that for the press conferences before and afterwards.
Yes.
Like Piper
And-
doing the worst water spit I have ever seen.
And I also loved CM Punk on the post show doing his little subtle jabs at AEW. That was nice.
And the internet wrestling community in general.
Just like this show. Because that's kind
Dude,
of
my
what we
favorite quote. Dude, I was so happy when that one dork from, of course it was from Cultaholic, was like, you should have CM Punk and Drew in a Hell in a Cell match right off rip. And what did CM Punk say? He said, I'm so glad you don't book this show. What a perfect response.
do. Yeah, because you know why? That's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. First match,
Exactly.
Hell in a Cell, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. This is why.
I mean, maybe to blow off the feud if they do Bad Blood.
That is a blow off, not first match.
Unless that's the only match they ever have. There's no point to doing that.
CM Punk with the quote of the year. Thank God you don't book the show.
Yeah.
That was great.
But we basically do. So WWE,
Yeah.
WWE, get to work, and we'll see you for Money in the Bank in about a month.
Yeah.
But until then, folks,
No, not a month, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh man, how
Literally
lucky are
July
you,
6th.
fans? Yeah, how lucky are you? So we have a 2-week commercial break to get through. So unless you subscribe to Court Martial Podcast Premium Plus, in which case you have a
God.
2-week long vignette package. But until then, folks, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And thank you for bearing through all of the brutality of listening to us for almost 3 hours. We will be right back right after this.